Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And in this update, we are going to check out Ondo's price chart and see what is going on the live chart. But honestly, checking out the live chart is not really the focus of today's update. In today's video, we are going to talk about something very interesting. And as you saw by the title of today's update, maybe Ondo is starting to break Ethereum a little bit. So in case that you're not active on Twitter or maybe on the whole blockchain space altogether, you're just buying a coin and you're just holding it, okay, you should know that recently something quite interesting happened on Ethereum. Gas fees all of a sudden went up by about, let's say, somewhere between 7 to 12x in the last couple of days, and the main reason was actually Ondo. You see, Ondo just launched more than 100 tokenized US stocks and ETFs, and they are all on Ethereum, aimed mostly, this is important, pay attention please, at non-US investors. Basically, anybody outside of the United States now could buy an on-chain version of real stocks like, for example, Apple, Tesla. I think recently Amazon, maybe Robinhood, so on and so forth. And again, all of these are on Ethereum. Now, here is where it gets really wild. You see, in just and only one day, trading these tokenized stocks used up over 10% of all Ethereum gas. And that, my friends, trust me, is a massive number, meaning a big part of the entire network's block space was taken by Ondo users buying and selling these tokens. And according to Ondo's Twitter account, they actually for a period of time went above USDT and also USDC in terms of burning gas, which is insane. And they had actually a rather funny response, and they said, "We would like to formally apologize to the Ethereum community for the recent spikes in gas fees. Trading demand for Ondo tokenized stocks drove about 10% plus of Ethereum gas usage in the past 24 hours. We appreciate your understanding during this time of on-chain adoption." And I'll be honest, this was, in my view at least, as an Ondo holder, a really solid flex. Now, in case you are not familiar with what Ondo is doing, and generally you don't really know what is this RWA stuff and specifically tokenizing stocks, I think I should actually break it down a little bit and at least explain what Ondo is doing, and then we are going to maybe talk a little bit about other competitors as well. So let's dive in and see what is going on. And it's very important to understand at first that Ondo's tokens are ERC20 assets, just like any other crypto token. However, each one of these tokenized stocks are actually backed one-to-one by real stocks held in custody. So, for example, if you buy something like maybe Apple on Ondo, which the ticker for it, if you even search it on TradingView, you can see it. It's called AAPLON. Basically, AAPL is Apple, and the ON, the last part, is actually showing that this is Apple's tokenized stocks on Ondo. If you buy this ticker, Ondo's system actually buys a real Apple share through a US broker and then mints a token version of it on Ethereum, and that token is fully collateralized. Okay, it's very important to understand that it is fully backed by both the stock and also the cash. And just to show that there isn't really anything shady going on, Ondo is even providing proof of reserve audits to show that what they are doing is absolutely real and 100% legit, and there's basically zero risk in it. You can redeem the token for stable coins anytime during the market hours, and even dividends and stock splits are reflected directly in the token's price, which is awesome. Also, another smart part in here, actually this is specifically for Ondo, is the liquidity. You see, instead of relying on a small DeFi pools, Ondo's tokenized stocks use the liquidity of the real market itself, meaning trades usually go through big on-chain aggregators like 1inch. So if you buy, let's say, Apple's stock on Ondo, the slippage and also execution are almost like buying Apple stock on Nasdaq. And that, my friends, is exactly what they mean when they are saying the tokens inherit liquidity from the underlying asset, and it is all permissionless. Once these tokens exist, anybody I really mean that. Anybody can move or maybe trade them freely on Ethereum 24/7, even outside of the market hours. And these tokens are working in normal wallets. They integrate with DeFi applications, and even Trust Wallet also added support shortly after the launch. But here's the situation. You see, since everything happened fully on chain, well, every single trade or transfer is going to eat up a bit of gas. And so when trading volume is going to explode like it did a couple of days ago, the Ethereum network all of a sudden will basically have to process thousands of these operations, and that is what caused the spike in gas usage recently. In short, you could say that maybe Ondo is starting to break Ethereum, but in reality, it didn't necessarily break it. No, it just used it quite a bit, let's say actually quite a lot, and the project is basically showing you what heavy real-world trading activity looks like when it moves fully on chain. And notice I said when it moves and not if it moves, okay? Go back and watch the previous Ondo videos. Even the CEO of BlackRock, Mr. Larry Fink himself, talked about tokenizing stocks, and he said this is absolutely going to happen, and that is why for a whole day, Ondo's tokenized stocks alone made up over 10% of Ethereum gas consumption, which is awesome for us. Now, what happened in Ondo isn't just actually a one-time event. It's very important to understand that. I think this is going to continue as we are seeing more and more people getting interested in tokenized stocks outside of the United States. Okay, I need you to remember this. And in 2025 alone, a lot of major players also jumped into this space. And this part is where we are going to talk about competitors. You see, Kraken recently expanded X stocks project on Ethereum. Robinhood launched tokenized European stocks on Arbitrum, and Coinbase is also reportedly working on its own version, and even BlackRock is putting ETFs directly on the blockchain, and Fidelity quietly started tokenizing US money market funds. So the whole traditional finance world is basically testing how to bring real-world assets, stocks, bonds, ETF into crypto ecosystem. And according to a report on CNN that I read a couple of days ago, in 2025, the total value of on-chain RWA jumped by almost 19 billion, hitting around $34.6 billion overall. And that, my friends, is a massive growth, and it clearly shows you that institutional interest in this space is picking up really fast. Now, I guess the question is, and to just actually wrap it up, where does Ondo stand in all this? Pretty strong actually, and the numbers are definitely support this thesis. Their global market platform, the one with tokenized stocks and ETFs on Ethereum, grew super fast, and in the first 9 days after launch, it added about $160 million in total value locked, and by late October, that number climbed to about $364 million, and if you include their other products as well, well, okay, that number is like really up, maybe even, who knows, possibly into billions. And that, my friends, is showing you a massive growth in Ondo's adoption one way or the other. Now, in terms of competition, okay, Ondo's main rival, in my view, is going to be Bakkt Finance, which is a Swiss project behind X stocks. Bakkt has around 60 tokenized US equities running on several chains like Ethereum, BNB, Solana, and also Tron. But Ondo went actually quite a bit bigger. It launched with over 100 assets, all directly on Ethereum, and partnerships with names like Wisdom Tree and BX Digital. And well, as a result of these partnerships, literally in the last couple of days, Ondo's platform hit $240 million in TVL, making it the world's largest tokenized stocks and ETF platforms by locked value, and even they overtook Bakkt Finance, which had quite a head start. Also, in terms of the broader RWA market, Ondo is also competing with Matrix Dog, Franklin Templeton, and even BlackRock themselves. And Matrix Dog's tokenized US Treasury fund has around, I think, $120 million issued. Franklin Templeton's on-chain money market funds sits near about, I think it was 360 million, and BlackRock's version also saw roughly around $375 million in a single week. And on those own treasury products, like we talked about it before, OUSG and also USDY together actually managed over $218 million, representing around $7.4 billion in treasuries off-chain. So basically, whether we are talking about stocks or maybe bond-like products, Ondo is right up there, and in some areas, they are already ahead, which is what we like to see. And to sum it up, Ondo's recent gas spike wasn't an accident, okay? It was a clear signal to you and me that on-chain markets are maturing, and they are maturing really, really fast. And we are right now seeing real stocks, real capital, and real liquidity starting to live directly on blockchains. And Ondo just happened to be the first big project to push the activity to Ethereum's limit. The bigger story in here, in my view, isn't really about gas fees. It is about how fast traditional finance is merging with crypto, and the lines are starting to blur a little bit, and projects like Ondo are right at the center of all this. And that's actually one very important reason for you and me to be extremely, extremely bullish in Ondo. Because if you believe that there is going to be a period of time where altcoins are going to outperform BTC quite a bit, well, okay, in that period, does it really make sense to think that all altcoins are going to go up big time? I'm gonna say probably not, and that's actually exactly why I would like to pay attention to the projects with solid fundamentals, and well, Ondo is definitely on my list. So fundamental wise, this in my view is a real, clear, very strong signal suggesting Ondo is absolutely on the right track. Now, let's go on the live chart and see what is going on in the short term. Okay, here we are, and literally 2 days ago that we talked about Ondo, we were right around, excuse me, let's just take this object, this area, and the idea was that, well, okay, we should just take everything step by step, and if you want to say that this point is going to be our final low, then okay, number one, under any kind of circumstances, we said that specifically from here, you do not want to see a move down in Ondo in order to take this important low about, let's say, 57.2 cents. Point number two, we also said what you want to see is a continuation of the move up, because at that point, we might be able to talk about a 1-2 scenario with like just a bit more confidence. Now, what is a 1-2 possibility? For those of you who are new viewers, you see, my field of works is Elliott's waves, and whether it's going to be in this channel or maybe my main one way or the other, I'm always trying to analyze the chart with the help of Elliott's waves, and Elliott actually suggests that if you want to say, for example, around this area, maybe, I don't know, let's say this is like a very important support, you want to say we're going to have our final low in here, then okay, you have to be able to find off of the lowest low a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up. This specific structure is called an impulse. Rules for it are, we should not have overlapping of the waves between wave 2 and 4, and in any kind of 5 wave or wave 3 should not be the smallest wave, and in terms of the sub waves, you know it. We're gonna have 5 up into wave 1, 3, and 5, and for our corrections, we can have different scenarios. It's not really that important. Let's say, yeah, okay, ABC into wave 4 and possible WXY into wave 2. What just happened? There we go, a WXY, okay. WXY into our wave 2, and in Ondo, the idea was that according to the bullish case, we are having this 1, 2, and this is another 1 and a 2 on a higher degree. And back then in the previous video, if you check it out real quick, we were right around this area. So what happened? As you can see, thank God that in Ondo we got a decent move on the upside, but I'm going to tell you right now, the job is not done yet. No. Point number one, this can be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave into, pay attention please, a larger degree wave 3. And what is it you want to see now? Yep, you know it. We want to see a consolidation pattern in here into our wave 4. So if we end up getting a bit of a temporary reaction from this very important level, it's not really going to be the end of the world. But again, our reaction has to be in form of a correction, generally a very slow and choppy move down, followed by yet another move on the upside in order to hopefully, point number two, get back above this very important level and reclaim it once more, which the higher band of it is about, let's say, 72.5 cents. Which scenario is going to happen? I'll be honest with you, I don't really know. All I have to tell you is this. I think for this bullish case in Ondo, yep, so far at least we are on track. And again, you just have to be a little bit more patient, and please do not jump into any unnecessary bullish or maybe bearish conclusion. Let's be patient and see, are we going to get a consolidation, another move up, or maybe, God forbid, we are going to have like a very strong move down in form of a 5-wave in order to reach to about these areas. If we do this, well, okay, at that point, count on this whole move as opposed to a 5-wave to just be an ABC zigzag, meaning what? Our move down in Ondo is going to continue, and in the short term, it's not really ideal, but based on fundamentals, I'm actually going to treat that move down as a decent buying opportunity. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Ondo. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.